Yo, what up, everybody? Okay, so we have the release of the fake Epstein emails, which have no context behind them. But today, the Democrats tried to pull a fast one on everybody. It took me literally 3 months. I found out this morning and I said, okay, I found out they released the files. And then I went and I did some searching because I've been paying attention about that. What's her name? Giuffre, the woman that killed her. She ended herself. And she just released a book that implicated a bunch of Democrats in her book for being chomos. So I got the information. Okay, they released the emails, and I was like, first thing I do, I go ask AI, is the woman that they're saying released that's named in this email, is it the woman that ended herself, and then she has gone on multiple times to exonerate Trump? Yes, Washington Post already confirmed that it was her, and the Democrats put the email out with her name redacted on purpose. So this is a whole nothing burger story. But what's weird about this is that in the emails now, the New York Post the New York Times, is being implicated in an email for warning Epstein about another ongoing incoming investigation. And it's just weird. It's like they get pissed at Schumer, mentioned them in one of his rants, that the New York Times was putting out fake news that they were the ones responsible for the government shutdown. As soon as the shutdown ends, because they finally voted to start the government back up, Democrats finally voted to start it back up, they release a specific email that bashes the New York Times. Isn't that kind of strange? Isn't that kind of weird? And of course, they got nothing out of that whole shutdown, which was completely pointless. They could have opened the government and then negotiated to have health care they could have fixed the unaffordable Obamacare, but they didn't want to do it. So now they get nothing. That was completely pointless. Premiums went up and they still kept the government closed. Premiums went up and they still kept it going. Why would they keep the government shut down still, even though the premiums went up? It was completely pointless. So stupid. So anyways, let's just get into some of these clips. I'm going to prove everything I said. They've already released the unredacted version of the letters. This whole thing is nothing burger. Even CNN defended Trump and embarrassed Jasmine Crockett. So let's look at some clips.
Only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk, I'll give you as much time as you want, I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009. So,
do you know if there's any truth to James Patterson's claims that Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago?
I've definitely heard that. I definitely heard that, and I don't know that it was Trump himself as opposed to a manager there.
Trump's club, so
yeah,
people credit him.
I've heard the rumor that Epstein was kicked out of there for allegedly trying to pick up somebody's daughter or something like that. But I think I did chase that down as far as I could and never was able to confirm.
That woman he's talking about is the Giuffre chick. He banned him from Mar-a-Lago because he found out he had recruited her and stole her from Mar-a-Lago. And Trump knew her dad too. So they banned him from coming back to Mar-a-Lago after that. And another thing in these emails, there's an email of Trump telling, what's his name? Chomo Epstein, to give up his membership or resign his membership or whatever to Mar-a-Lago, and then basically saying he knows what they're doing, and tells Ghislaine to stop because she's the one that's recruiting the girls, and then the girls go out and recruit more girls. That's how this whole thing works. They recruit one girl, and then whichever one they can get to come back, she recruits others, which Giuffre admitted in her book. Like, this stuff is... We've known this stuff for a long time now, but Democrats rely on their base being stupid. They don't know anything. They don't know any of this stuff. They don't know, like, it's crazy to me when I start arguing with these people online and I just realize they don't know any of this stuff. This is the first time they're hearing about any of this. So it's like you're arguing with a spastic. It's not going anywhere because the amount of information an average person that's been a Trump supporter for this long knows is it's gonna be an astronomical amount more that they can't even comprehend. They don't even know that there's foreign governments implicated in this. They don't even know that there's other nations. Like, nations will literally crumble from these files being released. And we already know 2 prime ministers from 2 different countries implicated in Epstein Island being chomos that have been released in her book. There's Democrat senators, Democrat Congress members. Clinton it's weird. It's weird what she says about him in the book. But, I mean, multiple victims have come out and they've all had Trump's back. But they don't like talking about that. They had meetings in front of Congress. The victims were there after they appeared in Congress exonerating Trump. Then they brought him on CNN for a town hall. They did it again there. But these people, they hate Trump more than they love this country. So they gotta that's all they care about.
Jeffrey Epstein mentioning Donald Trump by name multiple times in private correspondence that he...
Oh my God, Trump knew Epstein? No way. We didn't know that.
With people including
Bombshell.
Ghislaine Maxwell,
Bombshell.
obviously his longtime associate and accomplice, and also the author Michael Wolff, in a time span of about the last 15 years or so in these emails. Now, these are coming out from the House Oversight Committee. They had issued a bipartisan subpoena to Jeffrey Epstein's estate, John, as you know, earlier this year. And so they've gotten their hands on a trove of documents. And these are emails that included Jeffrey Epstein on them. They were sent either to him or from him.
Which have like no context. People are having to figure out what all this stuff means. They're combing back through all these files. Like, dude, it's just...
Mentioned Donald Trump before he was in office and also while he was in office during his first term. And I want to walk you through these emails of what exactly we are reading in Jeffrey Epstein's own words in these emails that have been released by the House Oversight Committee. And in one of them, Jeffrey Epstein says, and I should note, Trump did not send or receive any of these messages. He's not a party to these emails, John. But these are emails from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Stock up this summer with Paleo Valley's buy one get one free offer on bone broth protein. If you're someone who cares...
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So...
Okay, now shout out Liberal Hive Mind. So this is where they found this email. This is the most damning one.
It's time to end this cover-up and release the files. And so let's start off with this email because this is the one that is the most damning, supposedly. This is the one that's moving in Democrat circles. We've got an email here from Jeffrey Epstein to an individual under the name GMax. This was sent on Saturday, April 2nd, 2011. And the email writes, I want you to realize that that dog hasn't barked is Trump. Then we have a name that is redacted, and they just write in big bold letters, victim, the victim, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. And now this, of course, implies that a victim spent hours with President Trump, and supposedly, you can make the assumption from there, the victimizer in this case was President Trump. However, there's only one problem with that. The Democrats have presented this in possibly the most dishonest and deceitful manner possible. They didn't just redact it. No, they redacted and wrote victim to make an implication. Yeah. The reality is there's actually no need for this redaction, which the GOP Oversight Committee now clarifies. Why did Democrats cover up the name when the estate didn't redact it in the redacted documents provided to the committee? So the name initially was not even redacted. So obviously there's something behind that redaction, right? And the addition of the word victim. The GOP Oversight Committee continues, it's because this victim, Virginia Giuffre, publicly said that she never witnessed any wrongdoing by President Trump. Democrats are trying to create a fake scandal to slander President Trump. Shame on them. Holy frickin' moly. When I initially saw this document, I thought it was pretty damning, but I was also a little bit confused by who this supposed victim was. But now to learn that it's Virginia Giuffre? Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
We've already been through this a million times. The Democrats have been trying to take down President Trump with this individual case for the longest of time. And now they're trying to recycle it with this latest dishonest drop. Obviously, they had this document that clearly could not be used in its original form. It was not the big breaking bombshell scandal that incriminated the president that they wanted it to be. And so they altered the document and then released it in one of the most disgusting and dishonest propaganda plays I think ever conducted. Will Chamberlain drops the facts here. Here's Virginia Giuffre, the, quote, victim in the partially redacted emails leaked by the House Dems, clearing President Trump of any wrongdoing, or rather any wrongful conduct, in a sworn deposition. Dems and their media partners should be ashamed of themselves. And we could read the transcript here. This is from 2016. Notice how I mentioned earlier that Dems are recycling this, but let's go ahead and read it. Donald Trump was also a good friend of Jeffrey's. That part is true. And that, of course, we know in the early days. However, he didn't partake in any of the sex with any of us, but he flirted with me. Then it goes on and says, it's true that he didn't partake in any of the sex with us. I believe this is her responding to the quote, but it's not true that he flirted with me. Donald Trump never flirted with me. Then the next.
So it's them repeating, I think somebody's accusation that she said, and then she's responding to it.
Is he'd laugh and tell Jeffrey, you've got the life. I never said that to her. When you say he didn't partake,
talking about Ghislaine or something,
sex with any of us who is us, girls. How do you know who Donald Trump had sex with? Oh, I didn't physically see him have sex with any of the girls, so I can't say who he has had sex with in his whole life or not, but I just know it wasn't with me when I was with other girls. What is the basis for your statement that Donald Trump is a good friend with Jeffrey's? Jeffrey told me that Donald Trump is a good friend of his. But you never observed them together? No, not that I can actually remember. I mean, not off the top of my head, no. When did Donald Trump flirt with you? He didn't. That's what's inaccurate. Did you ever see Donald Trump at Jeffrey Epstein's home? Not that I remember. On his island? No, not that I can remember. In New Mexico? No, not that I can remember. In New York? Not that I can remember. This is supposedly the big bombshell. Absolutely disgusting play. Once again shows how the Democrats will stoop to any frickin' level. These are the documents that supposedly incriminate the president.
All right, so now we have this last clip from CNN where they are defending Trump. And, I mean, these people are the worst.
An email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans were saying that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that? And can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand, but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth.
What an absolute clown, dude. Alright, let me know what you guys think. I mean, I could literally make a 20-minute video, but like, you guys won't watch it, so I gotta try to keep it around 10 minutes. Just like the video, subscribe if you liked the video. If you didn't like the video, let me know in the comments why you're so gay. Alright, peace, later.